So we were thinking about it today, and it was like, okay, what campgrounds have we been to in Kentucky? Now, of course, we live here, so we've been to 19 or 20 campgrounds, and I think I remembered all of them. You know what? There's probably some I've forgotten, to be very honest. But in no particular order, we have Ken Lake, Lake Barkley, Big Bone Lake, White Acres, Callie's, Diamond Lake, Lake Cumberland, Corbin, KOA, Prizer Point, Green River State Park, Hillman's Ferry, Del Hollow State Park, Bowling Green KOA, Bailey's Point Campground, Canal Campground, Kendall Campground, Kentucky Horse Park Campground, Carter Caves, Axtel. I think that's all of them, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's 19 different campgrounds, and they all kind of had their place. Every one of them were, honestly, almost all of them were great. Almost. All of them were definitely good. If you told me I had to go to the worst one of this group, again, I wouldn't complain about it. I'd make the best of it, and it would be great. So even the worst is still great. What I've done is I've come up with at least some type of a criteria, trying to make this as subjective as possible, is what our top 5 is. Number 1 is I want to look at the campground cleanliness. You know, when you go in, do you feel like the campground has been taken care of, is clean? Then the campground upkeep. You know, do you look at it, are the picnic tables falling apart? Do you have gravel that's starting to wash out? Do you have, you know, different things that just need to be kept up? The amenities, you know, what kind of games do they have? What kind of activities do they really have? Green spaces, you know. When I go in, I want more than just a place to park. I want a place that, you know, if I want to throw a frisbee, or if I want to, I don't know, what else could you do in a green space?
Oh, we've seen some play.
You know,
they'll bring out their baseball or lacrosse or volleyballs or whatever and play.
Baseball. I've seen kids playing volleyball. Just tons of different things. And what can you do with a green space? It's just a great place to hang out, deal with it. Trees. How good are the trees? Are they mature trees? Are they too thick? Are they too thin? There's not too many. I mean, are they small? What exactly are the trees? Non-existent. You know, is it a parking lot?
Yeah.
I mean, what exactly do we have when we look at the trees? Next thing is hiking. You know, there's things you want to do at a campground besides sit at your campsite. You know, I want to get out and I want to see the area. Is there anything interesting to see when you're there? You know, can I find a trail from the campground, or at least really close to it, that I can find a waterfall or hike to some kind of an arch, or, you know, some type of something cool. You know, and not only do we just stay at a campground, when we travel, we like to go to the area that the campground's in. We like to see the area of business. We like to visit breweries. We like to listen, you know, see the different things that are in that particular place, and let's kind of talk to the people that are trying to make a living there and own businesses, and, you know, local restaurants, things like that. How are the businesses in the area? How many are they open to business? Do you have some? You know, is it in
the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, is it in the middle of nowhere? Is it, hey, we're gonna pull in and we better have everything we need? Or is it, hey, there's a grocery store down the road, and there's a great restaurant right here, and there's a brewery over here, and no, how are the businesses in the area?
And as much as I love dollar stores, they don't count. So, and then he's got his beer options, because of course Craig's got to look at the breweries, and then water.
Not only breweries, but is there at least a place that you can buy it besides a good liquor store? Because there's some that even the liquor stores in the area don't sell beer. They only have like Budweiser, Bud Light. No thanks.
Then you got water and price.
The campground near water.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, I said basically, okay, it's 1 point if there is no water. 2 points if you can see the water, but you can't touch it. You can't get into it. And 3, if you can walk down and get in the water and take a swim. Price. You know what? Are we talking about an all-inclusive resort? Or are we talking about your basic pitch a tent and leave in the morning?
State parks.
So those type of things. And we totaled those all up, and we came up with our top 5. Now, Kentucky, with Tennessee, we had the same top 5. With Kentucky, we've got a little different, but I think we've narrowed it down to a list of 5, maybe 6, because of a tie, but that I think we can live. We started.
We didn't screw up.
Well, I screwed up. Never mind. We're going to start this over. So we have a tie for number 5.
Yes, we have a tie for 5. I think my 5 is Prizer Point, which is a KOA. on the western part of Kentucky.
That kind of kills it.
Kind of about Katie's. But it's a really, as far as KOAs go, it's really freaking cool.
Yeah, it's probably one of the better KOAs I've ever been. I will give it that.
I mean, you've got a lot of water access. It has little boat docks. You can rent golf carts from it. It has a year-round pool where they'll close it in. So you've got some in the cold weather, but then you're open up through the summer. It has some premium sites if you want those.
Those are the premium sites.
So
we screwed up and got the premium sites. Trust me, they are the wrong direction. So you're pulling straight in rather than angling towards the water. There's better sites on the water. On the normal side, and it will cost you less.
Yeah. But the area.
It's not far from Katie's. And Katie's has got, it's got some antique shops and it's got a few decent restaurants. I mean, there's some pretty good restaurants right there too.
But it's just
But it's a little ways from it.
Yeah, it's a place you go spend the weekend there and have a great time and you're done. But as far as any type of a KOA, and I'm not usually one that loves a KOA, but this one's a great one. For Prizer Point. That's why I made my number 5. But Craig's number 5 was different than mine.
Yeah, my number 5 was Kendall off of Lake Cumberland. And we stayed at the Annex. We've got plans to stay in the Annex again. Fortunately, unfortunately, it's very hard to get a good site in the main campground.
Yeah.
We just scheduled Kendall. We just scheduled Kendall again, and we are once again in the Annex. The Annex was a great area. It really was. So I won't deny that, but I would really like to see what the main campground was like to stay in.
And I mean, we booked it 6 months out, which is kind of the rolling. So it's not like we're trying to book it last minute or anything. You really have to be on top of it to reserve.
It's pretty much going for the full 2 weeks to get the time they want.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you some of them went for 2 weeks just to get 1 day so it would screw it up so nobody else would mess with it and then came back and did their other 2 days later on.
So
it's a very popular
But what do you love about it?
It's just a really clean. The fish hatchery right there is really cool. It's kind of nice to see. I don't know. I mean, it kind of, again, I didn't expect it to be there because it's one of those that once you're there, you're there. It's what it has, but the campground is super well maintained. It's really clean. It does have a restaurant there on site. The fish hatchery again. It's got water access. I'm not sure about getting in the water. I don't think you're going to get in the water there, but
kind of right down from the dam.
Yeah, it's down from it's at the edge of the dam off Wolf Creek Dam. There are some things to see there. There are a few trails. Not bad. I mean, it's just a pretty cool campground, kind of a cool area.
Yeah, and then we go back on the west part of Kentucky for number 4.
Yep.
It's a really cool area. But we're number 4. I think we both agreed on this one. Maybe was Canal.
Yes.
This one is kind of in that Grand Rivers area. So the campground is nice. That's kind of a beach area there, but Grand Rivers is a really neat little town. It's got some little bars with some live music at times. That's where Patty's is, like right there. If you're looking for Patty's Settlement, go get your pork chop and whatever else you need from there.
You can go get your pork chop if you want, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're better to go get you a pizza or stop there at Taps on the River or Taps Between the River. There's a couple places that are really good, nowhere near as crowded and much easier on the pocketbook. And I think the food is good.
They've got
You can't have a better time than Taps on the River. Trust me, she knows.
Shut up. I'm not telling those stories. But yeah, no, I mean, they'll have some music. They even have just like...
Oh, the live band. The one girl that performed there was really good.
Yeah, she was really good. And then even, like a little, what is it, Craig's Dairy or...
Craig's Dairy Dream.
Craig's Dairy Dream. But, you can get... If you order the banana split...
Kind of the walk up.
It is. You walk up, order at the thing, have cash with you. I don't think they take anything but cash. But, if you want some ice cream, we ordered a banana split and shared it. And this thing was enormous.
It was awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, you can add some calories to
And if you go just a little ways from that area, you've got the damn brew house. You're not far from Paducah. If you wanted to spend a few extra minutes and kind of go up there, Paducah Brew Works, Dry Ground. There's a couple really nice breweries up that way. So yeah, it's definitely worth stopping in there. I mean,
the state.
Our number 3, Kentucky Horse Park. I would have never thought this park would have been this cool. First time we went there, I think we were going to Lexington for a football tournament or a football game. And, you know, a couple kids were staying with us. We got there late at night. We didn't have a great sight, but, you know, we were there. Matter of fact, at the time, we had our diesel pusher. And while we were staying there, a guy came up to us and asked us about it. And it was his old diesel pusher, and he told us a story about the guy driving it from California to Kentucky to deliver it.
But Kentucky Horse Park, it's a big park. It's got a pool there, which we've never actually been there when the pool's open. We're there spring, fall. We're never there during.
No, we've never been there when the pool was open. We've been there, and it's but I mean, they've got more than just a pool. They've got tennis courts. They've got pickleball courts. They've got everything. The amenities. They probably are what pushed this park from, 6 or 7 to 3.
Well, and if you like horses at all, of course, you're in Lexington, and it is right at the horse park. So you can go over to the horse park, and you can check out all the beautiful horses and the history and everything that has to go with it. And you're in Lexington. So if you want to go, we've been there and went to a concert. You don't feel like you're in the heart of town, but if you want to go, Lexington has anything you want to do. They've got some great breweries. We went there and ended up going to UK Tennessee football game one year. We
showed up and we found out, just so happened that while we were there, Chris Stapleton was playing at Kroger Field.
Willie Nelson also same night.
We somehow lucked into tickets for $100, and there we go. We went.
Yeah, it was so much fun. That was a great concert. You get the chance to see Willie Nelson.
Watch Willie Nelson play. That man's how old, and he played for 2 hours straight, I guarantee it, and was just nonstop.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep. And Chris Stapleton too. That was the first time they ever sold alcohol at Kroger Field.
Yep.
So anyway, we were there for that. So, Lexington, Kentucky Horse Park, it's a great campground, but it's also a great area. And you can you leave the campground, you can find anything you want to do there.
You're within 5 miles of Lexington, but you don't feel like you're in an urban setting at all.
Or if you don't want to go into Lexington, you can go the other way and go right up to Georgetown. Yep. And Georgetown is really, really cool, small town that has a lot of different things. Yep. Like their downtown area is really, really cool. So you can pick.
Was up there.
And what's the barbecue place? Red State Barbecue.
Check that one out,
it's right by it. But do not follow the instructions.
Oh yeah, if you're taking GPS.
Don't take
and
GPS.
You're coming from south to
the Kentucky Horse Park. No.
Yeah.
It will try to turn you.
Do not turn off when it tells you to on that road. Keep going around, and
Yeah, there's a little cut-through road that it'll try to take you on. You do not want to take that.
No. Number 2 is Axtel, Rough River. This, to me, this was my number 1. She disagrees. Personally, I think the campground was phenomenal. I loved it. I think the trees, there weren't a ton of trees, but I think there was a perfect mix. We had shade anytime we needed it. We were in the sun, and at one point, at a site we were staying at, we had full sun, but we could easily walk down to the water, and there were trees down there. So it wasn't like over shaded. It was like you still had grass, you still had everything, you still had grass there. But then they had a bunch of the cypress trees, so you saw the cypress trees down by the water.
Yeah, cypress trees were cool.
So you had a lot of root systems, but it was just, I really think, and the worst part is some of the best sites had no electric or anything, so if you wanted the boondock, the best sites in the campground were
down
around
the end.
The corner.
Yeah. But when it comes to Axtel, right now they're doing a lot of work with the dam, so the water level's low. I'm not sure how many more years that's going to be the case. You can still see the water, but it's not the level that it normally is. Yeah. But outside of the actual campground, there are 1 or 2 little places that are super neat, but that's all they have. So now, granted, Porgy's is awesome.
Yeah, Porgy's is a place to check out. All right, they grind and case their own hot dogs. Mm-hmm. They're doing it. You can sit there and watch them doing it.
And they do
deep fry Oreos. They have chili cheese fries.
Their chili cheese fries are phenomenal.
It's probably the most unhealthy place you could ever eat, but it is phenomenal.
But they have the hot dogs they use are kind of smaller because it's meant for you to maybe try 2 or 3. So the toppings they have on them, they have everything from...
They had a peanut butter and jelly.
They had a peanut butter and jelly. They have, your chili. They had one with like a Reuben with like sauerkraut and stuff. Oh my God. They had probably, 20 or 30 different options.
And you had your deep fried Oreo.
You need a nap when you leave.
The poor guy that went with us the first time.
And he paid for it dearly when he got back to the campground.
His wife paid for it more than him, I think.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's really, really cool. But that's...
And I guess you got to say, too, though, I grew up in that area, so I know a little bit more about the area.
It's nostalgic for you.
Yeah.
Because his parents just have a place on Rough River, so he's partial to it. Yeah. So I understand why it's made it that way up.
But it's a great campground.
Yeah.
Don't her tell you any different.
No, campground itself's great, especially if you can get a water site. It's really, really nice.
We got one more. Our number 1 is
Carter Caves.
Carter Caves. What can you really say about Carter Caves? It's just it's a unique place. It's beautiful. It's tucked on the top of a hill you got to take a drive up a bunch of switchbacks to get to it. Narrow little road. When we went, I think we were in our pusher, the 36-foot pusher. We were towing the Jeep, and we had no problem getting up it. It was just, there were some tight curves. There were some hairpins. You turn around and go the other way and turn around and go that way. And
he's like, please don't let me pass a rig.
Yeah, you didn't want to pass someone coming out or going in on anything big because it was definitely tight.
But once you got up there,
it was great.
And really for us, the reason that, it ended up making it to our number 1, even though we didn't really get to check out the rest of the area, was because we had Jeep issues that weekend. Once we got there, we were kind of stuck there, so we couldn't explore other than where we could walk. But the hiking really pushed this one up because they have their 3.5 mile loop trail that they have is just gorgeous. I mean, really, really beautiful country. You got to be able to walk some stairs. There's several stairs up and down. Some little cave areas, some little
natural bridges, couple arches.
But it's really, really beautiful hiking. And they do have caves. They've got an area where you can get tickets and you can actually go down into some of the caves. And then at the campground itself, the site itself, it's not anything to write home about. But they have a really cool mini golf course that's right there. They have access to, you can walk down through and see some water and some creekways that go through.
They had a decent little camp store there. I think they had a pretty good sized primitive area.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it, I mean, it's rated that high for us this year, and right now they are redoing park, so they're upgrading a bunch of things. So it'd be really interesting to see how it comes out, with all the upgrades and see what it looks like.
Yeah, because it's closed this year.
It's closed this year, yeah.
So, which there's a lot of Tennessee parks that are doing upgrades, but I don't know of a lot of Kentucky parks that are doing upgrades.
Well, they just announced Ken Lake's going to get an upgrade.
Ken Lake is? Okay, cool.
It needs one bed.
So Ken Lake's doing one, Carter Cave, so maybe Kentucky's catching on and finally going to do something with some of their parks. I was surprised that one made it to number 1, but it was just even though we couldn't drive around, it was just beautiful. Everything about it was just beautiful. And it was unique. So that's why it kind of made it that far up. And I know, from where we live, I'm sure people are thinking, oh my gosh, how in the world did you not have Bailey's Point on your list? You're right there by it.
Well, I'll tell you, Bailey's barely made it out of mine. That was number 6 for me, and it dropped a little lower for you.
Yeah, well...
The truth is, Bailey's 10 years ago would have been top.
The campground at Pete, and it's not. It's gone with just volunteer only, and they're not really putting any money in it. And it's a shame because it could be the coolest campground. And it was the best campground for a long time.
I'll tell you, the only thing that would keep Bailey's at this point, to me, keeps them out of being number 1, would be the area. Because there's just not a lot there. I mean, it's other than where
That's
they just opened up.
They just now in Allen County
they went wet.
Last year went wet. So Paradise Point has now opened up. What's the name of
Rusty's.
Rusty's. And so they've got a cool little restaurant that just opened in the last year or so. And then of course you got Paradise Point, which if you don't know what it is, Google it. It's, anybody in the area knows what Paradise Point is. But now they've got the little restaurant and bar area. So it's starting to get a few more things, but really for them.
And of course there's also Paige's Pizza.
Yeah.
Far from it. So
Paige's
that's
Pizza.
another one to check out.
Yeah, you got to drive a little bit to that, but Paige's Pizza is definitely worth going to. But, traditionally, historically, at Bailey's Point, you had a dollar store that was around the way if you forgot something. But other than that, you'd have to drive all the way to Scottsville or all the way up to Glasgow to really get anything because it was kind of nothing.
Yep.
But that will change now that they are a wet county and things will start to build around it. But the disappointing piece with Bailey's is just the general maintenance and upkeep. They let it go. And so hopefully they'll turn that around and it will once again move up on our list.
10 years ago, it was probably, we stayed there for the first time and it was just absolutely beautiful. It was so well maintained. And a few years later we go back and it's like, what happened to this place? This is all grown up. It hadn't been mowed.
And I mean, we used to go to Bailey's several times a year and we still would go at least once or twice a year,
I kind of quit. I kind of pushed off of it. I'm kind of over.
Did we go last year at all there?
Yeah, we went. Yeah.
It's kind of one of those that it's so close and it's right there at Barren River and it's just a quick if you wanted to, but it's not on our plan at all in 2025.
But yeah,
we've kind of cut it out, which is kind of sad because it's the closest rural campground we have at a state park where we live. So, but yeah, no, Bailey's did not make the list.
But that is our honorable mention.
We have to keep it honorable mention.
Honorable mention of number 6 right there.
All right.
Guys, as always, hopefully it's helped you in some way, form, or fashion. If it didn't, hey, leave me a comment below and let me know how to improve it. Or, if we left out some great campgrounds, what I'd really like to know is, where are they? And give me some recommendations of where we need to go. What are something we need to see? Again, I like something that's going to have a nice, something to do in the area, not just the cool campground. But I'm down for about any of it. So please, leave me a comment below and let us know. Did you like our list? Do you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? It would be great. Hit that notification bell. Hit that subscription button. Hit me a like. Give me a dislike. Whatever. We just want to hear from you. And hopefully we did something that you like here.